Good morning. Hello. How are we all? I would just wait a few seconds to see if anybody is joining us. I'm joined this morning by the lovely Jo Howarth, who is one of my expert coaches. So, Jo is my happiness and hypnotherapy coach within Peaks. And what I do is we are just going to come live, have a chat. Jo's going to introduce herself, talk about what she does, her business. We'll just kind of chat, go with it. It's quite informal. And what I would love for you to do is if you're watching, if you've got any questions at all, then please just pop any questions in the comments and we will see them come through. At the top of wherever you're watching this, there will be a description which will tell you all about Jo, and there will be links to her Facebook page and her website. So if you want to go and do a bit more research and find Jo after this, then you can. So Jo, welcome.
Thank you very much.
And I would love for you to introduce yourself and tell us a bit more about what you do.
I will indeed. So I'm Jo Howarth, obviously. I am by trade, I'm an advanced hypnotherapist, not a normal hypnotherapist, an advanced hypnotherapist.
What's the difference?
Double clever. It just means
Okay.
so no, it means I'm trained in a range of advanced techniques. So there's lots of different schools of hypnotherapy and types of hypnotherapy. So yeah, I'm an advanced hypnotherapist and a mindfulness practitioner. So those are the tools of my trade. I'm also a Reiki master, but I don't massively use that professionally. I tend to use that personally, although I am currently training to become Reiki master teacher, so I can attune people to become Reiki practitioners too. Just another string to my endless strings to my bow. So those are the tools of my trade. I run a company called the Happiness Club, which is has lots of different strands to it. So I do work with people one-to-one as a jobbing therapist. But also, as the name suggests, the Happiness Club is a membership that people can join on an individual or a corporate basis. And it teaches people, the purpose of the club is to teach people every day how to look after their mental health and emotional well-being. For me, it's about being proactive in doing that. It's about I very much came into getting therapy myself and getting help for my mental health when I was at a crisis point. And I think a lot of people wait until they've experienced something massively traumatic or they're at crisis point before they reach out and ask for help. And sadly, a lot of people don't ever reach out and ask for help. So the ethos behind pretty much everything I do is about being proactive in looking after what's going on in here and what's going on in here. It's really simple to do. But sometimes we just need someone to hold our hands while we do it. I do. I still have people that hold my hand when I'm going through difficult times. And I don't think there's, I used to see asking for help as, it's real weakness. And why can't I do it myself? And why is this thing wrong with me? And now I see it as a massive strength. Asking for help. We're not made to be able to do everything ourselves in the best, most amazing way ourselves. We're made to connect with other people and to use other people's skills and talents and support and advice. So that's, and I know you're big on connection. That's, that's the ethos behind what you do, isn't it? So
yeah, that's it. And it's, I'm guilty. I've really struggled always to ask for help. And even when you first come into business and you're new and you really haven't got a freaking clue what you're doing, you've got a million plates, but you think, I don't want to ask somebody how to do it, or I don't want to. And it's a real hard thing to overcome, I think, is to ask for that help. And I went through quite a rough patch before, obviously, setting up my businesses in between the corporate world and where I am now. And I was so low, and I probably didn't realize how low. Well, I probably did. But again, I didn't speak to anyone. I didn't ask anyone for help. I didn't reach out. I probably just went out and my mates got pissed and wasn't very nice at the end of the night. that was the truth of it, rather than actually sitting down and going, I'm absolutely I need some help. It was just more like just drink my way through it, and probably wasn't the nicest person to be around for a while.
And that's so common. And I mean, I'm one of those people that very much believes everybody would benefit from therapy. Everybody.
Yes.
Therapy and or coaching.
Yeah.
Every single person in the world would benefit from it. And there's no doubt in my mind. And your response to feeling low is really common. And that's part of the thinking behind the Happiness Club, is I didn't want to. So I come from severe anxiety and stress. That's where I grew up, and that's where I lived for most of my 20s and my 30s. And I would never, when I was in corporate, there's not a chance in hell that I would have told my boss, my colleagues. Nobody would have had a clue. Nobody did have a clue how I was feeling every day.
Yeah.
And there was not a chance in hell I would have told them.
No.
And no way would I have asked for help. In a professional setting. That just would not have happened in a blue fit. So when I set the club up, it was with that thinking in mind, was that we proactively go out. We release what we call daily strategies every day on a Happiness Club app. So they proactively come out and ping on everybody's phone first thing in the morning. And it's just a little, hello, how are you? Think about life like this today, or have a go at this technique today, or try this today, or here's a story about my life that's given me some kind of learning that I think might help you too. And it's just proactively every day coming out to them, so they don't have to ask for help. They don't have to reach out. Then we've got the therapy support, so they absolutely can reach out if they want to. But we've got endless resources on the app. That means they never have to reach out if they don't want to. They can absolutely
Access it all there.
Access it all whenever it suits them. And that was really important to me, because that's who I was, right? I just would not have reached out in a blue fit. So everything that I create, I realized about 2 months ago that everything I've created in my business has been to help some past version of me.
Which I think, if we're all honest, we probably do, don't we?
Absolutely. So, I mean, we have so many different strands to the business. There's the one-to-one stuff. There's the club membership. But we also have a section on corporate resilience. So we deliver resilience training to corporates of all shapes and sizes across the world. And we have our own schools program. So we work in primary schools and secondary schools. But again, with all of that, our schools program is done on a whole school approach, because the kids I want to reach aren't the ones that are obviously struggling, because they're the ones that will get support anyway.
Yeah.
The ones I want to reach are the little kids at the back who don't say boo to a goose, who no one will ever know that something horrible's going on at home, and would never speak up. Those are the children that I'm trying to reach. And the others into the bargain. Awesome. But same with the corporates, right? I encourage my corporate clients to offer the training to their entire staff.
Yeah.
Again, the people I want to reach aren't the ones who are already in therapy, or who already practice mindfulness, or who already understand how brilliant therapy is or coaching is. They're the ones that are really, really struggling and wouldn't say anything to anybody.
I wouldn't ask for any help.
Yeah, that's it. So
morning, Laura. So I was just going to say morning. I've seen your message pop up.
Hi, Laura. So yeah, it occurred to me about 2 or 3 months ago. I was like, oh yeah, that was me in corporate, me in school.
I mean, when I look back at working, I mean, I know we're working. We all say, don't we? When's a proper job? But when I was I was self-employed but employed under a big company when I was working, and like even before all the stuff happened, just throughout my whole working life, throughout my whole career, I honestly didn't think therapy was a thing for people that just felt a bit low and a bit depressed and I just thought therapy was like you went to your doctors if you really severely got mental health issues or something's really wrong with you. I didn't think that me just working at my desk feeling depressed and life going on and everything would be able to access therapy. It wasn't until I come into the whole online world and realized how all the coaches and the people that are there to help you, I literally had no idea. And I think there will be a lot of people like that in corporate world that
Yeah.
don't think it's there for them. That's not for
Yeah.
me.
Absolutely. And again, that's part of the reason why the club is structured in the way it is. So we release daily strategies. We have live webinars every month, live meditations every month. We have an online courses on stress, anxiety, depression, all of that. And then members get 24/7 access to our team of therapists. So it's not
Wow.
full-blown therapy. It's not full-blown counseling. It is on an ad hoc basis, but it's unlimited. So we have people that call us every week without fail.
Wow.
And we have people that don't use it for months, don't use that part of the service and dip in.
Yeah.
That for me is part of it, because there are people who are just going through a stressful period now, and in 3 months' time, they might be completely fine with the right kind of support, right? Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So there are people that actually won't go to whatever's on offer in their workplace, because all that's on offer in their workplace is full-blown counselling, and they don't
Yeah.
feel like I don't need full-blown counselling, right? I just need someone to listen to me when I'm about to burst my
Yeah.
boiler, right?
Yeah.
So that's again, that's why the therapy side of what we do is
Awesome.
structured that way, because
Yeah.
not everybody wants to sit down and give somebody they've never met before their inside leg measurement, right?
No, because it can make you feel uncomfortable. The
Yeah.
thought of it, like I'm probably one of the most guilty people of that. The thought of like going to sit with somebody and having to open up is like really scary. And I'm like, don't make me cry. You're not making me cry. Like I just don't want to have those conversations.
Crying
Kelly,
space.
morning, Kelly.
Hi,
Um,
Kelly.
and we've got somebody here. There is a link at the top of wherever you're watching this, where you can click, and then StreamYard should show us your name. But if you just want to put your name on, we'll know who you are. But good morning. And Kelly has just said, yes, me, I'm going through a stressful period, Joe. So obviously there's something you can help her with there.
And that's it, right? Because we don't, not all of us experience high levels of stress all the time. We go through fits and starts and ebbs and flows. That's the point of life, right? So yeah, I mean, I commented on a post by Kelly the other day asking her just to, she very bravely opened up. And again, that's like you said, right? It's not easy to do that. It's not easy to open up. And again, that's part of why the club is structured the way it is, because we come out to people every day. We do the daily strategies are in writing, but also in video, so they get to see my face every morning. Bless them. We had a we get loads of testimonials from members, but one of my favorite ever was, I love the daily strategies because it feels like your favorite auntie is just having a chat with you.
I mean, and I've said it to you before, you've got the most lovely voice. Like, you're such a calming, soothing voice. I can imagine just listening and like
But they feel like, so the members feel like they know us, because it's just me that does the daily strategies, right? So they see different members of the team. So then when it comes to things getting on top of them a bit and they feel like they maybe want to reach out, they're not reaching out to a stranger. They're reaching out to someone they feel like they know, right?
Yeah.
Which is a whole different kettle of fish. And we all share. I'm very open with my members, and I share what's going on in my life and how I'm handling it and stuff like that. So again, that's purposeful to say to people, we all go through shit, right? We all experience it, and we all react in different ways and respond in different ways. And this is how I'm handling it. And if you need a hand handling it, then give me a shout, right?
Yeah.
That's basically the ethos of the club. So it's just purposely designed to help people open up and feel comfortable with mental health as much as possible.
Sounds brilliant. Sounds like you've just got something for everybody, haven't you, in there? I find it helps me to open up. Yeah, good.
It's a good thing to do.
Yeah. It is becoming more accepted now, isn't it, that people do reach out for help, which is a really good thing.
Yeah, the conversation around mental health has opened up a lot. I mean, I've been practicing for almost 11 years, and it's changed massively. It's changed hugely in that time. When I started out as a jobbing therapist 10, 11 years ago, it was, I used to go networking and, go to the kind of network where you have one-to-ones with people in the meeting, and the people I would have one-to-ones with would talk about their business and then, ask me about my children, not about what I did and stuff like that. But then they'd follow me out to my car afterwards to say, actually, do you know what? Could I have a chat to you? But they wouldn't chat to me openly in front of anybody else, right? So, yeah, it's changed hugely now, which is awesome. And it's through people like you opening up, through people like Kelly opening up about what we're experiencing. That's what needs to keep happening, I think. For
Definitely.
that conversation to grow.
And finding the right people around you, like you've got your club, your happiness club, and then that's a community. And obviously I love community. And once you've got a support network around you, you do feel a bit more comfortable to open up and to speak to people. So I was poorly last week and couldn't get a doctor's appointment on Friday. I was told I had to. Oh my word.
Kelly.
Wow.
Well, then I really double, triple hope that you're taking care of yourself properly, like resting. Please resting. And please doing all the things to take care of you. And I think that's what people struggle with most. We don't put ourselves first. That's one of my bugbears, and one of my key messages is you come first. You have to come first. And people, especially mothers, go, oh, I can't do that. That's awful. You're like, no, because it's become a bit of a cliche, right? But how do you help anyone else? How do you support your children? How do you support your family? How do you support your business? How do you support your friends and all the people you want to support? How do you do that if you're not supporting yourself in the first place? Absolutely has to start with you every single day.
Well, Kelly, I really hope that you're resting and you're okay.
Me too.
Let us know that everything's all right. Bless you.
Good. She's saying she's putting everybody, she's delegated everything to her team. Brilliant. Good.
Yeah.
Good. Nothing.
Laura, it feels like people are more open to being vulnerable, knowing it's okay. Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely. Definitely. I mean, we've still got a way to go. The conversation still needs to continue. You still hear the heartbreaking stories, and but it's definitely streets ahead of where we used to be. Definitely.
Just trying to reach those people, and obviously my community is women based. So I've got a female based community. There's a lot of communities on Facebook, and I think Facebook, just for me, it just feels as there's far more women on Facebook and people I interact with. But I do feel that men need this support just as much. And it's like, where did they go? Have they got these support networks? I wouldn't know because I wouldn't be in them. And I do feel, and when, like, I spoke to somebody at an event I was at last year, and somebody he knew that just went into pub and recently took his own life. And he was like, I've seen him in the pub, he's just a lad, and he's just and he said, but we'll just go, are you right, mate? And they'll go, yeah, sound. Like, there's no deeper level than that. It's just, and I can, like, my husband's the worst at communicating. I would never know if he was feeling anything. Like, he just doesn't communicate on that level. It's just everything's all okay. But I think there's got to be places for men as well that.
And there are, and I mean, we don't have a particular gender that we work with. Probably about 75% of our members are women, but we do have a good cohort of men in the Happiness Club as well, which is really good. And actually, when I work one-to-one, I probably have about a 50-50 split between men and women. So I do have quite a lot of male clients. I also have a very good friend called this gentleman called Fidel Bohill, and he runs something called the Modern Man Club.
Oh, wow.
He's a coach and an NLP practitioner that is very much on all about bringing men the support that they need and getting them to open up about relationships and mental health. And that's his mission totally. So he does amazing work. So there is support out there. And I do, again, I think that's growing. I'm connected to quite a lot of people on LinkedIn who, there's a couple of people I'm connected to on LinkedIn who do things like walking mental health groups for blokes and stuff like that, right? So trying to bring it in a way that blokes will respond to.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because I think we, as women, we're just a bit more open anyway, aren't we? Like, but I just know from like the men in my life, they're not as open as the women. With all the development I do, Hayden also benefits from it, but most conversations start because I've noticed behaviour patterns. Yeah. See, I will talk to Rob about stuff, but yeah, he's just very. I'm all right. I'm all right. But yeah, it's. So what did you do in your corporate world before this?
So when I was a grown up, I was a corporate event manager. So I organised conferences and events and award dinners and exhibitions, that kind of thing.
Oh, wow.
Which is a massively, I mean, it always, I mean, I went into it because it looks like a glamorous job because you get to travel around and meet celebrities and da 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 da. But it's incredibly stressful.
I
It's one
can
of the most
imagine.
stressful industries to work in because I always say, because there's an absolute deadline. The
Yeah,
event's 10th of June. You can't move it. You can't decide to give yourself a couple more weeks, right? It's then, and everything
yeah,
has to be done and perfect for then. And you have clients that want everything to be perfect and then some.
yeah.
So it's incredibly, incredibly stressful. And I mean, I was a completely different person when I was an event manager. I smoked like a chimney. I drank like a fish. I had IBS and eczema, and
Wow.
I was grumpy, like you were saying before. Went out and got pissed and was grumpy and irritable. I was, not this person at all. And then on the surface, I was confident, outgoing,
Yes.
friendly. I
Yeah,
didn't feel any of that inside at all. I
yeah,
was like, fuck.
yeah,
Inside, I was like, oh my God, what am I doing? And someone's going to find me out in a minute. And then the whole thing's going to crash around my ears. And that was how I felt inside every single day, which was just exhausting.
yeah.
Totally. I
So
was
what
just,
made you make the change? What was the kind of
honestly, having children,
right?
because I had my first daughter and I didn't want to go back to work. And I had the choice of staying at home and being a stay-at-home mum and freelancing a bit, which I did, or
Yeah.
going, and I just took that. And I freelanced in event management for about maybe 3 or 4 years.
Okay.
And then I had my second daughter, and then I started struggling with 2 children. It's quite
Yeah.
hard work. And I started repeating some of the patterns that I had experienced when I was a kid. And I had had hypnotherapy myself 10 years before, and on and off. I'd been going for therapy on and off over those years.
Right.
But I kind of came to a crisis point again then, and realized that I was turning into the grown-ups from my childhood, which I did not want to do, and went straight back into therapy. And as a result of going back for those therapy sessions, my therapist, I actually said to him, because he'd been my therapist when I was 25, and I said to him, do you think I could do what you do? And he said to me, I've been waiting 10 years for you to ask me that.
Oh, wow.
I was like, oh, okay, cool. Let's do it then. So then I trained with him to become a therapist. So
Wow,
yeah,
amazing.
that was towards the end of my 30s. So yeah, it was really having kids completely. I think if I hadn't had that self-awareness from having had therapy already,
Yes.
when I had my children, I think I would have just become my mother. Much as I love her, I didn't want to become my mother, right? Or my
Yeah.
stepdad or any of the grown-ups from my childhood. Um,
Cycle breaker
and if
thing.
I hadn't had that self-awareness from having had therapy, I think I just would have plodded through, and I think a lot of people do, right? We just go through
Yeah.
repeating the patterns that we've learned. But
Yeah.
because I had that level of awareness, I was like, "Oh, holy crap. No, I am
Yeah.
not doing this. This is not that's not who I'm being. That's not happening." So, yeah, again, hurrah for therapy.
Yeah. And what do you do with your hypnotherapy? What does that do to help people?
So hypnotherapy, in an absolute nutshell, works on the subconscious level of your mind. So as a human being, you have a conscious mind and a subconscious mind, and your subconscious mind is by far the bigger part of you, and it's where all your beliefs about life, the universe, and yourself are stored. And it's an automatic machine. So you learn a program of being, you learn a pattern of thinking, of feeling, of behaving, and you go through your life repeating that over and over and over again, right? Because your subconscious mind just learns how to do it.
Yeah.
It's an amazing, powerful thing. I always use the example of putting on a pair of socks, right? You've learned when you were 3, 4, 5 how to put on socks, largely by doing it by repetition, by doing it over and over and over again. And then it's stored in your subconscious mind. It's like, right, cool, we know how to put socks on. Awesome. So now when you're a grown up, you don't have to think about how to put socks on. You just get your socks out and put them on because your subconscious mind is doing it for you, which is awesome. You're thinking about what to have for tea and it's putting your socks on for you, right?
Yeah.
Brilliant. It's a massively powerful thing. And it does all of those things on autopilot, but it does it for absolutely everything. So all those patterns of behavior that you've witnessed when you were growing up, that you've seen, that you've learnt, they just get repeated over and over and over again on autopilot. And what hypnotherapy allows us to do is go in and say to the subconscious mind, hang on a minute, mate. You know, this pattern, actually, it's not making Nicola very happy. So could we just shift it, change it? Could we do something with it? And we can change the belief. We can release the belief. We can change the pattern. It's honestly, I describe it as the closest thing to real life Harry Potter magic that I have ever experienced myself and with my clients. And I've been practicing for nearly 11 years. And I still, when I get a client, which is most of them, when I get a client that makes those transformations and says to me, I was in that situation and I just didn't say what I normally say, and I didn't behave how I normally behave, and I didn't feel how I normally feel. And there's still a little part of me that goes, no way. That's so amazing. It's just beautiful.
Wow.
And I couple it with mindfulness, because hypnotherapy is very much about working on the subconscious.
Yeah.
Mindfulness is about working with your conscious awareness. And for me, you have to work on both levels, right? The more consciously aware you can become of everything that you're thinking, feeling, doing, saying, the more you can then look at that and do whatever work you need to do subconsciously to change it. Because if you try and change something consciously, it's absolutely possible, 100%, but it will take a lot more energy, a lot more effort, and a lot more time to do it.
Yeah.
So there you go.
I need loads of I'm very happy with brilliant. Yeah. I feel like I need loads of hypnotherapy then. I think we've said a few times, you're like, I need to just, I'll get my hands on you one day. Because it's like, I've always like flying. Like, I have so many fears. It's totally irrational. I'm just scared of everything. Like,
and that's the thing, right? You've learned that when you were Diddy. Something's happened when you were Diddy. And like, I'll give you a story that actually isn't one of my clients, was one of my trainer's clients, Eamon. And he did most of his training. He's in his 70s now. And he did most of his training back in the 80s and the 90s in America. And he was in the queue to fly to New York one time, and the queue for check-in was just not moving at all, because there was a young lady at the front having a panic attack about getting on the plane, right? So he introduced himself to the BA staff as a hypnotherapist and said he could help, and they bit his hand off to help because she was causing panic left, right, and centre. They gave him a yeah, right, that's it, totally. And they gave him a room to work in, and they went into hypnosis, and the subconscious mind took them back to when she was about 4, and she was in a park with her granny on a climbing frame and having best time. And Granny said to her, just be careful, sweetheart, don't go too high or you'll fall and hurt yourself. And obviously, being 4, she completely ignored Granny and carried on climbing, got to the top, slipped, fell, hurt herself. Lots of emotion there, right? What Granny said is true now in her subconscious mind, and lots of emotion, which keeps that belief held in there, right? Then the belief lies dormant for 20 years. She's in the queue to fly to New York. She's going on holiday. She wants to go. She's going with friends. She's excited about going. And the women in front of her in the queue start having a conversation about how high planes fly. And it triggered the belief, if you go too high, you'll fall and hurt yourself. And her subconscious mind can't say to her, that's what's happened. It just sent her into a panic attack, which is not a nice thing to experience for anyone who's ever had one. But it's trying to stop her. Your subconscious mind is always trying to look after you, even when it doesn't feel like it, right? Mm-hmm. sent her into a panic attack to stop her getting on the plane. It's because if you go too high, if you fall out of a plane, oh my God, that's going to hurt, right?
Wow.
And so they brought that to conscious awareness. They chatted with the subconscious mind. It allowed to release it, lessen it. She got on the plane. She flew to America. Eamon got upgraded to business class. Thank you very much. And brilliant. It's one of my favorite stories because it absolutely, it's sometimes it's the most throwaway thing. It doesn't
You
have
don't
to
even
be.
know what it is.
Right.
Like,
It doesn't have to be
yeah,
deep-seated trauma. It can be, but it doesn't have to be. It can absolutely be the most throwaway comment that's just made an impact at that point because you're 2 or 6, right? And
yeah,
it's made a deep impact at that point in your life. And so it becomes a belief that your subconscious mind holds on to and repeats to keep you safe.
yeah.
It's awesome. I love it. You can probably tell.
Yes. I feel like everyone's going to be booking a call with you after this, right? Fix me. So what do you do? Obviously, you send out all your positivity and your happiness things to all. I mean, how you think of something every day is amazing to all your members. But if you're stuck and you'll maybe wake up one day and you're not feeling happy, what's the one thing that really helps you personally that you can do for yourself?
So I would say 2 things. The first is to allow myself to feel that. So, full well, I posted in Peak's private membership club last week, the week before, I can't even remember, because I was having a really bad day because I'm going through something personally right now, and I was having a really bad day. So I sat that day and I allowed myself to feel it. I allowed myself to cry. Crying is just a release of energy. That's all it is. I allowed myself to take care of myself, to do the things that I knew take care of me, which for me is a hot bath, meditation, those kind of things.
Yeah,
I allowed myself to just feel what I was feeling because your emotions are transitory, they're temporary. And what we do when we feel the ones we don't want to feel is we try not to feel them. But in the trying not to feel them, what we're doing is holding on to them. And really what we need to do is just allow them to flow through us because they're supposed to move. They're made of energy and they're supposed to move through us. So the more you just allow yourself to feel whatever you're feeling, the quicker it will pass, the easier it will pass. But again, it helps to have people to hold your hand, which is why I did the post in Peaks, because I
yeah,
felt like shit and I wanted people to say, you've got this, we're with you,
yeah,
send me love. So
yeah.
I asked for it, right? But again, that's part of the point of the Happiness Club. We hold people's hands while they go through that because it's not always a pleasant process to go through.
No,
So we're here to hold people's hands. That's absolutely what we do.
I never thought about it in that way, that it's releasing something. Like, I
Yeah.
am that person that'll just go, no, block it. Like, you can't
And
cry.
that's
You
right. But that's what you're doing then is you're not all of your emotions have a message for you. They're just trying to tell you something. The good ones, the bad ones, the indifferent ones, the beautiful ones, the ugly ones, they all have something to tell you. And when you block it, you're not allowing it to deliver its message, right?
yeah,
Like the postman, if he's trying to deliver a parcel and you don't answer the door, he has to keep coming back. Right. And your emotions will do the same. They just keep coming back to knock on the door and say, hello, I don't think you heard me last time. So I'm just going to get a bit stronger. Right. I always say to my clients, I have the only job in the world where when someone cries, I go, yes,
you
which
know, you
makes
do
it
your
sound
job
like a
right.
complete sadist, but it's because I know that there's a release there. I know that we've shifted some energy. If someone's crying, there's release happening, right? So hurrah for that.
Yeah, brilliant. Love that. Never thought about it in that way, but yeah, that's really good. So thank you for today, Jo.
Thank you for today.
No, so Jo is, as we mentioned at the beginning, one of the expert coaches in Peaks, and she comes to us once a quarter to present a training and help all the members. And then you're just in there with all your loveliness anyway, helping and supporting everybody in there. And yeah, I do love what Peaks has become, where we have got that support network and that you felt comfortable you could do that. And then I think there was something like 50 or 60 comments, which I was like, wow, that's, it's the power of a
Yeah.
support network. It was brilliant.
Yeah.
So always reach out to people. So if you are sitting there, you are feeling unhappy or there's some help that you need, just reach out and ask for the help. Go and follow Jo. if you want to join a happiness club, I think I put the right link, I put your website link, so there should be a way into there, or reach out to Jo. And if you want to come and be part of Pete's Private Members Club, obviously you'll get access to all of us in there as well. So if you're watching on replay, do hashtag replay, ask us any questions. And thank you very much for joining us and watching us. And Kelly, please look after yourself. And I hope everything is okay with you. And we will catch you all later. Bye-bye.
Bye.